Rabbi Joe Potasnik is going to stop by in about 20 minutes. He's going to make a special prayer. We have our priorities in the right place. We want to make sure the Knicks get the number one pick tonight. So Rabbi Joe, this is legitimate. He's going to make a prayer on the show coming up in 20 minutes. And then WPLJ personality Race Taylor, one of the all-time greats, about to go off the air in a couple of weeks. He's going to stop by. Lee Zeldin is here now. Again, he is the ranking member of the House Foreign Affairs Subcommittee on Oversight and Investigation. He's also chairman of the House Republican Israel Caucus and one of two Jewish Republicans in Congress. He's been very outspoken, thank God, about Pelosi and these Democrats. But on a local note, Lee, first of all, welcome back, Mr. Congressman. Big event going on starting Thursday on Long Island with Tiger Woods in town. How excited are you about that?
It's going to be a great thing for Long Island. Just last year, we had the U.S. Open out in Shinnecock,
yep.
A PGA Championship just under 1 year later, and coming off that big Masters win, I'm sure that the crowds are going to be out regardless of weather. I hear that the conditions of the course are phenomenal. That's what I heard yesterday, and Long Island's excited. Let's see what Tiger has in store, and I'm sure for all these younger golfers who grew up watching him, how cool it must be to be competing against him for these titles.
Well, one more. He did win here 17 years ago, the U.S. Open at Bethpage. He's only been back twice since. And 2009, the weather was bad. Now, the weather's supposed to be Thursday and Friday. Very nice on Saturday and Sunday. But that's not part of your district, is it? You're up more like Shirley, Mastic, that area, right?
Yeah, so I'm a little bit east of there. We did host the U.S. Open last year, but Bethpage is just west of our district.
We're all family out in Long Island, Lee Zeldin. It doesn't matter. So it's going to be a great weekend, and go Tiger. That's what I say. But Congressman Zeldin, listen, some more important stuff here is this new anti-Semitism that's reared its ugly head right there in your place of work, Congress, the House of Representatives. It's unbelievable. I mean, a few things. You have Congressman Omar. She sits on your committee with your boss, Representative Nadler, the guy who chairs the committee. And then last week, your bigger boss, Nancy Pelosi, she actually invited a Jew-hating imam to give an opening prayer on the House floor. What is going on?
2019 has been a year like none other that I've been serving in Congress. This is my third term, my fifth year there. But this year we've had members enter Congress, actual members of Congress now, who are welcoming in anti-Israel hate. There's been anti-Semitic rhetoric that has caused a lot of great concern. The issue that you mentioned with the imam last Thursday, the Speaker Pelosi introduced an imam for an opening prayer who has compared Israel to the Nazis and has called Israel a terrorist regime and incited violence, calling for a third Palestinian Intifada, posting in support of Muslim Brotherhood. And then one day later, on Friday, Rashida Tlaib does a podcast where she's talking about, she gets asked a question about her support for a one-state solution where the Jews would be removed from power in Israel. And her response is how the Holocaust gives her a calming feeling because of the safe haven the Palestinians provided to Jews back then. And that just happens to be a bizarre, total rewrite of history.
A lie.
False. Right.
There's just so many different examples throughout 2019, and it's been an issue that you can't be silent on. You have to identify it and crush it.
They say that you're just spreading hate. Omar especially. No, Tlaib, I should say, was like, hey. I talked about the Jews being persecuted. I talked about the tragedy the Jews went through. I mean, the first thing I said yesterday was it was really a genius job by her because she was able to, while she was being incredibly anti-Semitic, subtly she kind of protected the Jews to try to protect herself. It was really a very good job on her part. But they say that you guys are the ones spreading the hate, that all they're doing is stating fact, and no, they don't hate the Jews.
Well, two things. One is, as I mentioned, that entire answer of hers was all in response to a question about her support for a one-state solution to remove the Jews from power in Israel. So everything that she's saying is in defense of that position.
Well, by the way, that doesn't mean, I had this conversation with locally a guy named Bill Ritter at Channel 7 a couple of weeks ago, who's a Jewish man, very proud of his religion, And he thinks that's the only way to get peace. I'm against it. Bernie's against it. You're against it. That's what Obama wanted. But there are Jewish people, peaceful Jewish people, who do believe that is the only path to peace.
Yeah, well, it's two different one-state solutions. The one-state solution that's being proposed by Hamas, that's being proposed by Palestinian terrorists, that's being proposed by others in that region, is to put a one-state solution that wipes Israel off of the map. Then you might hear from others who support a one-state solution where Israel continues to exist, that the Jews are expanding the territory that they have now, because there's disputed territory outside of the borders of Israel, but it's two very different one-state solutions. One seeks to remove the Jews from power, and the other one is, Israel is continues to exist and is maybe has more stability and more security than they have now. So that's the debate between those two one-state solutions, and of course there are others who, for decades, for generations, have tried to pursue a two-state solution where Israel is able to exist, and that the Palestinians would have some type of a country. Palestinians have been offered that many times over the course of decades and generations. And while a head of the Palestinians at that time might be indicating support potentially for creating that other state, when it comes down to it, the problem is their own people don't accept Israel continuing to exist. So the Palestinians have rejected that two-state solution because of that pursuit of one. Second thing I just wanted to point out about what you said with regards to Tlaib. I have a problem with her words, policies, rhetoric, her hate. I have never once mentioned her race, religion, or gender. However, and I'm seeing others do the same thing like her, with the same policies, the same rhetoric, the same hate, is that if I have a problem with any of those words, any of those policies, any of that rhetoric, and if others have problems as well, we automatically get labeled sexist, racist, and Islamophobic. If you have any problem at all with a single word that she utters, that automatically, no matter what your problem is, no matter what her words are, you're automatically an Islamophobe.
Yeah, they go to the race card immediately, which is the last refuge of skunks. So we know what that game is all about, Congressman Zeldin. And yes, the one-state solution you're talking about that would eliminate Israel is that the Arabs would outnumber the Jews, outvote them, effectively wiping out the state of Israel. That is true, and that's what she wants to happen, and that's what they were talking about. But that Jew hatred from her, the Jew hatred from Omar, the fact that Pelosi excuses all that stuff and then invites a guy to come in that hates the Jews, it's on the record, compares them to Nazis, as you said. My question is this. You said people have to speak up about it. Now, you have colleagues in the House, a sniveling guy like Eliot Engel and Jerry Nadler. We know they're not going to say anything. Even Chuck Schumer will not say anything. Well, what about your colleague? He's an Afghanistan veteran. You're an Iraq veteran. You're both Jewish. Max Rose, where is he on all this?
Max has been interesting because at times he has spoken out. He was the first Democrat to speak out against Ilhan Omar when she had the All About the Benjamin statement. And then a day later was backing her up and going after Republicans. And then he had a town hall where it seemed like he was going after Omar again. So, I'm not exactly sure what was going on there. I would encourage him. And by the way, you mentioned Eliot Engel and Jerry Nadler. It should also be pointed out, even with the two of them, Anita Lowy and Josh Gottheimer, and there are other Democrats who, and Ted Deutsch, there are Democrats who spoke up by name, calling out Ilhan Omar's anti-Semitism. I say that you have to be able to, without double standards, without moral equivalency, you have to name names. We should be passing a resolution that singularly, emphatically, forcefully condemns anti-Semitism. You can't be silent and just hope that this is going to go away. You can't assume that these people don't know what they're saying or doing, that Omar and Tlaib and others I believe that they know exactly what they're saying and doing. If you don't identify and crush it, if you instead elevate and empower it by, for example, putting Omar in the Foreign Affairs Committee, it actually continues to grow and get worse. So these Democrats who know better, it's really important for them to take a leadership role and do more, because if they don't, their numbers are going to be reduced within their own caucus in Congress and amongst the American people. And it's dangerous for the country.
No doubt. Listen, Congressman Zeldin, we applaud your efforts. Thank you so much for all the work you do and coming on today. You were great as always. Thank you.